welcome YouTube viewers. We should have a camera going. Oh, that's on the big overhead camera. And it's just staying there in that one position, so I think I'll just leave it that way. I'll be going over into that part of the John Moriarty's studio here in a few minutes. We're going to get started now with the putting up the Facebook billboard, and that is a few minute activity similar to the YouTube billboard. That is show title and host and other things a person might want to put in there. I keep it pretty simple. Now here we go. And about to put in the show title. The Saturday evening news. Then we go down to the next line and just put a delete, and I can put host ICHARDSLEZAK, and we can get to start broadcasting. Alrighty. Let me go over to the table and get my computer started into the pages I want to commence continuing in the Mueller report. We're at episode 29. And we're in volume 2 and page 90. We will be resuming the reading of the Mueller report. Okay, let's go up. Whoop. Over here at the big table, as you can see, on the web system television, and I have these other cameras in front of me, but I'm being lazy about getting them going. So, got an election campaign being tended to, and that was being worked on today. And so, as you can see, the big screen isn't getting its signal, so it's going to go off. And getting the computer warmed up. We have a large dog foster launch party. You're invited. Oh, that was today at the animal shelter. Got 8:51 here at the Voice of San Joaquin. I am aware that the vote was 52 to 48, Mitt Romney joining the Democrats and the Independents in the Senate vote on Article of Impeachment 1, abuse of power, abuse of office. And Mitt agreed. Didn't agree on obstruction of justice. That was 53-47. But here is the description of White House and presidential activities brought forth. Putting in my password. Now I gotta go down to, oh, there's the mouse. And let's open up the files. Up. This is the voice of San Joaquin.org coming to you from the John Moriarty studio, 231 West Bedford Road, Stockton, California. And believe it's in the documents. And go to open the documents. Here we go. That was strange. Trying to open the file here. Got this, I downloaded this from the Washington Post. Everything seems to be working. And it's continuing to operate, hopefully bringing this thing forth here on the Saturday Evening News. And up. Things are, there it is, there it is. Okay. Now I gotta scroll about. A little over halfway down the page, halfway down the screen. And that's what we're doing at the moment, setting things up for the show. And there's numerous acts of obstruction of justice described in this report. And so Congress there were many people in Congress who wanted to act on this. Oh, 153. I don't think that's... Now we're checking this out. 26. Okay, looks like we got about 60 pages to go. And checking. 66. Gonna check the page number here. 86. Oh, right. Getting it in here. About to get things. We'll be starting at the President's efforts to curtail the Special Counsel investigation overview. And look to have about 8 closing in on the top of the hour. Let me move over to the soundboard. Alrighty, folks, we're about to get the show on the road here. And got to put up a date, 2020-02-08, the Saturday evening news. And we're about to commence in 3, 2, 1. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, listeners to the Voice of San Joaquin.org. It is 9 p.m., February 8th, time for the Saturday evening news, and we're at episode 29 of the Mueller Report, resuming on page 90 and volume 2 of the Mueller Report. As we do know at this late date, 52 Republicans on Article 1 and 53 Republicans on Article 2 voted to acquit Donald John Trump. So we resume with the Mueller Report, which is just more of his, what I consider and most Americans consider, criminal activities. So with that, we're going to move over to the big table, making sure not to damage any equipment. And on the way, enjoy some coffee. I'm going to up the gain on the mics. All right, yes, we do keep notes here. And audition show start, and The President's efforts to curtail the Special Counsel investigation overview. Section F. 2 days after the President directed McGahn to have the Special Counsel removed, the President made another attempt to affect the course of the Russia investigation. On June 19, 2017, the President met one-on-one with Corey Lewandowski in the Oval Office and dictated a message to be delivered to Attorney General Sessions that would have had the effect of limiting the Russia investigation to future election interference only. 1 month later, the President met again with Lewandowski and followed up on the request to have Sessions limit the scope of the Russia investigation. Lewandowski told the President the message would be delivered soon. Hours later, the President publicly criticized Sessions in an unplanned press interview, raising questions about Sessions' job security. And this is, take our notes here, page 90. 6/19/2017, Corey Lewandowski in Oval Office. The press asked Corey Lewandowski to deliver message to Sessions to curtail the Special Counsel investigation on June 19, 2017, 2 days after the President directed McGahn to have the Special Counsel removed. The President met one-on-one in the Oval Office with his former campaign manager Corey Lewandowski, and I'm going to take a note here, 6/17/2017, Trump directed McGahn to fire Mueller. Continuing. Senior White House advisors described Lewandowski as a devotee of the President and said the relationship between the President and Lewandowski was close. During the June 19th meeting, Lewandowski recalled that after some small talk, the President brought up Sessions and criticized his recusal from the Russia investigation. The President told Lewandowski that Sessions was weak and that if the President had known about the likelihood of recusal in advance, he would not have appointed Sessions. The President then asked Lewandowski to deliver a message to Sessions and said, "Write this down." This was the first time the President had asked Lewandowski to take dictation, and Lewandowski wrote as fast as possible to make sure he captured the content correctly. The President directed that Sessions should give a speech publicly announcing, "I know that I recused myself from certain things having to do with specific areas, but our POTUS is being treated very unfairly. He shouldn't have a special prosecutor counsel. He hasn't done anything wrong. I was on the campaign with him for 9 months. There were no Russians involved with him. I know it for a fact because I was there. He didn't do anything wrong except he ran the greatest campaign in American history." The dictated message went on to state that Sessions would meet with the special counsel to limit his jurisdiction to future election interference. Dictated letter content. And now a group of people want to subvert the Constitution of the United States. I am going to meet with the special prosecutor to explain this very unfair and let the special prosecutor move forward with investigating election meddling for future elections so that nothing can happen in future elections. General Kelly describes Lewandowski, this is in footnote 604, as a comfort to the president, quote unquote, whose loyalty was appreciated. Kelly said that when he was chief of staff and the president had meetings with friends like Lewandowski, Kelly tried not to be there and to push the meeting to the residents to create distance from the West Wing. And resuming on page 92, the president said that if Sessions delivered that statement, he would be the most popular guy in the country. Lewandowski told the president he understood what the president wanted Sessions to do. Lewandowski wanted to pass the message to Sessions in person rather than over the phone. He did not want to meet at the Department of Justice because he did not want a public log of his visit and did not want Sessions to have an advantage over him by meeting on what Lewandowski described as Sessions' turf. Lewandowski called Sessions and arranged a meeting for the following evening at Lewandowski's office, but Sessions had to cancel due to a last-minute conflict. Shortly thereafter, Lewandowski left Washington, D.C. without having had an opportunity to meet with Sessions to convey the president's message. Lewandowski stored the notes in a safe at his home, which he stated was his standard procedure with sensitive items. Section 2, the president follows up with Lewandowski. We're on page 92. Following his June meeting with the president, Lewandowski contacted Rick Dearborn, then a senior White House official, and asked if Dearborn could pass a message to Sessions. Dearborn agreed without knowing what the message was, and Lewandowski later confirmed that Dearborn would meet with Sessions for dinner in late July and could deliver the message then. Lewandowski recalled thinking that the president had asked him to pass the message because the president knew Lewandowski could be trusted. But Lewandowski believed Dearborn would be a better messenger because he had a long-standing relationship with Sessions and because Dearborn was in the government while Lewandowski was not. On July 19, 2017, the president again met with Lewandowski alone in the Oval Office. In the preceding days, as described in Volume 2, Section 2G Infra, emails and other information about the June 9, 2016 meeting between several Russians and Donald Trump Jr., Jared Kushner, and Paul Manafort had been publicly disclosed. The July 19th meeting with Lewandowski, that was 6/9/2016 at Trump Tower. Let's see. The president raised his previous request and asked if Lewandowski had talked to Sessions. Lewandowski told the president that the message would be delivered soon. Lewandowski recalled that the president told him that if Sessions did not meet with him, Lewandowski should tell Sessions he was fired. Immediately following the meeting with the president, Lewandowski saw Dearborn in the anteroom outside the Oval Office and gave him a typewritten version of the message the president had dictated to be delivered to Sessions. Lewandowski told Dearborn that the notes were the message they had discussed, but Dearborn did not recall whether Lewandowski said the message was from the president. The message definitely raised an eyebrow for Dearborn, and he recalled not wanting to ask where it came from or think further about doing anything with it. Dearborn also said that being asked to serve as a messenger to Sessions made him uncomfortable. He recalled later telling Lewandowski that he had handled the situation, but he did not actually follow through with delivering the message to Sessions, and he did not keep a copy of the typewritten notes Lewandowski had given him. The president publicly criticizes Sessions in a New York Times interview. Within hours of the president's meeting with Lewandowski on July 19th, 2017, Dearborn suffering dry eyes, did not deliver fire Mueller message to Sessions. And recuse. I think that's what it, that in this area. Sessions' recusal, the president said that Sessions should have never recused himself, and if he was going to recuse himself, he should have told me before he took the job, and I would have picked somebody else. He told that to the New York Times. Sessions' recusal, the president said, was very unfair to the president. How do you take a job and then recuse yourself? If he would have recused himself before the job, I would have said, thanks, Jeff, but I can't, I'm not going to take you. And we're on page 94. It's extremely unfair, and that's a mild word to the president. Hicks, who was present for the interview, recalled trying to throw herself between reporters and the president to stop parts of the interview, but the president loved the interview. And page 93, Trump would not have taken Sessions if he knew of recusal. Alrighty, that's kind of headline speech there. We have 9:17 here at the Voice of San Joaquin. And let me get a sip of coffee. Ooh. Oh, my. Oy. Oy. Continuing on page 94. Later that day, Lewandowski met with Hicks and they dismissed the president's New York Times interview. Lewandowski recalled telling Hicks about the president's request that he meet with Sessions and joking with her about the idea of firing Sessions as a private citizen if Sessions would not meet with him. As Hicks remembered the conversation, Lewandowski told her the president had recently asked him to meet with Sessions and deliver a message that he needed to do the right thing and resign. Oh, yeah. If he knew of recusal, resign. Jeff. And that's on page 95. As Hicks remembered the conversation, Lewandowski told her the president had recently resigned. While Hicks and Lewandowski were together, the president called Hicks and told her he was happy with how coverage of his New York Times interview criticizing Sessions was playing out. The president orders Priebus to demand Sessions' resignation. 3 days later, on July 21, 2017, the Washington Post reported that U.S. intelligence intercepts showed that Sessions had discussed campaign-related matters with the Russian ambassador, contrary to what Sessions had said publicly. That evening, Priebus called Hunt to talk about whether Sessions might be fired or might resign. Priebus had previously talked to Hunt when the media had reported on tensions between Sessions and the president, and after speaking to Sessions, Hunt had told Priebus that the president would have to fire Sessions if he wanted to remove Sessions because Sessions was not going to quit. According to Hunt, who took contemporaneous notes of the July 21st call, Hunt told Priebus that, as they had previously discussed, Sessions had no intention of resigning. Hunt asked Priebus what the president would accomplish by firing Sessions, pointing out there was an investigation before and there would be an investigation after. And who's the Hicks and Hunt? And just trying to find where this Hunt fits in. Okay, not finding, but continuing. Ooh, 94, 95. Okay, we're resuming on page 95. Early the following morning, July 22nd, 2017, the president tweeted a new intelligent leak from the Amazon Washington Post, this time against AG Jeff Sessions. These illegal leaks, like Comey's, must stop. Approximately 1 hour later, the president tweeted, "So many people are asking why isn't the AG or special counsel looking at the many Hillary Clinton or Comey crimes, 33,000 emails deleted. Later that morning, while aboard Marine One on the way to Norfolk, Virginia, the president told Priebus that he had to get Sessions to resign immediately. Oh, wow. Okay. We're on page 96, and it's 7/22/2017. Prez told Priebus to get Sessions to resign. Just make him feel real bad. Oh, man. The president said that the country had lost confidence in Sessions and the negative publicity was not tolerable. According to contemporaneous notes taken by Priebus, the president told Priebus to say that he had needed a letter of resignation on his desk immediately, and that Sessions had no choice but must immediately resign. Priebus replied that if they fired Sessions, they would never get a new attorney general confirmed, and that the Department of Justice and Congress would turn their backs on the president, but the president suggested he could make a recess appointment to replace Sessions. Priebus believed that the president's request was a problem, so he called McGahn and asked for advice, explaining that he did not want to pull the trigger on something that was all wrong, although the president tied his desire for Sessions to resign to Sessions' negative press and poor performance in congressional testimony. Priebus believed that the president's desire to replace Sessions was driven by the president's hatred of Sessions' recusal from the Russia investigation. McGahn told Priebus not to follow the president's order and said they should consult their personal counsel with whom they had attorney-client privilege. McGahn, now we're on page 96, and Priebus discussed the possibility that they would both have to resign rather than carry out the president's order to fire Sessions. And then it's fire Sessions. Prieb and McGee. Alrighty. That afternoon, the president followed up with Priebus about demanding Sessions' resignation, using words to the effect of, "Did you get it? Are you working on it?" Priebus said that he believed that his job depended on whether he followed the order to remove Sessions, although the president did not directly say so. Even though Priebus did not intend to carry out the president's directive, he told the president he would get Sessions to resign. Later in the day, Priebus called the president to explain that it would be a calamity if Sessions resigned, because Priebus expected that Rosenstein and Associate Attorney General Rachel Brand would also resign, and the president would be unable to get anyone else confirmed. The president agreed to hold off on demanding Sessions' resignation until after the Sunday shows the next day to prevent the shows from focusing on the firing. By the end of that weekend, Priebus recalled that the president relented and agreed not to ask Sessions to resign. Over the next several days, the president tweeted about Sessions. On the morning of Monday, July 24th, 2017, the president criticized Sessions for neglecting to investigate Clinton and called him beleaguered. On July 25th, the president tweeted, Attorney General Jeff Sessions has taken a very weak position on Hillary Clinton crimes. Where are emails and DNC server and intel leakers? The following day, July 26th, the president tweeted, why didn't AG Sessions replace acting FBI Director Andrew McCabe, a Comey friend who was in charge of Clinton investigation? According to Hunt, in light of the president's frequent public attacks, Sessions prepared another resignation letter and for the rest of the year carried it with him in his pocket every time he went to the White House. We have 9:39, it looks to be, here at the voice, 9:30, here at the Voice of San Joaquin. This is the Saturday Evening News. I am Richard Slezak. We are sharing with you, the general public, the Mueller report. Currently, we're on page 96 of Volume 2. Let me take a refresher. Got a bunion on my foot. Oh, cranky. And have a little coffee here. Okay, let me. I do have a sensitive shoulder. Continuing, going on now to page 97. In analyzing the president's effort, this is the analysis. In analyzing the president's efforts to have Lewandowski deliver a message directing Sessions to publicly announce that the special counsel investigation would be confined to future election interference, the following evidence is relevant to the elements of obstruction of justice. A. Obstructive act. The president's efforts to send Sessions a message through Lewandowski would qualify as an obstructive act if it would naturally obstruct the investigation and any grand jury proceedings that might flow from the inquiry. The president sought to have Sessions announce that the president should not have a special prosecutor counsel and that Sessions was going to meet with the special prosecutor to explain this is very unfair and let the special prosecutor move forward with investigating election meddling for future elections so that nothing can happen in future elections. Unquote. The president wanted Sessions to disregard his recusal from the investigation, which had followed from a formal Justice Ethics Review, and have Sessions declare that he knew for a fact that there were no Russians in the existing investigation into the president and his campaign, with the special counsel being permitted to move forward with investigating election meddling for future elections. Nexus to an official proceeding, as described above, by the time of the president's initial one-on-one meeting with Lewandowski on June 19, 2017, the existence of a grand jury investigation supervised by the special counsel was public knowledge. By the time of the president's follow-up meeting with Lewandowski, and the grand jury blacked out 2 lines, see Volume 2, Section 2G, Infra. To satisfy the nexus requirement, it would be necessary to show that limiting the special counsel's investigation would have the natural and probable effect of impeding that grand jury proceeding. On page 97 we are, Section C, intent. Substantial evidence indicates that the president's effort to have Sessions limit the scope of the special counsel's investigation to future election interference was intended to prevent further investigative scrutiny of the president's and his campaign conduct. As previously described, see Volume 2, Section 2B, Supra, the president knew that the Russia investigation was focused in part on his campaign, and he perceived allegations of Russian interference to cast doubt on the legitimacy of his election. The president further knew that the investigation had broadened to include his own conduct and whether he had obstructed justice. Those investigations would not have proceeded if the special counsel's jurisdiction were limited to future election interference only. And, okay, page 97. Obstruction acts by DJT. The timing and circumstances of the president's actions support the conclusion that he sought that result. And the president's initial direction that Sessions should limit the special counsel's investigation came just 2 days after the president had ordered McGahn to have the special counsel removed, which itself followed public reports that the president was personally under investigation for obstruction of justice. The sequence of these events raises an inference that after seeking to terminate the special counsel, the president sought to exclude his and his campaign's conduct from the investigation's scope. The president raised the matter with Lewandowski again on July 19, 2017, just days after emails and information about the June 9, 2016 meeting between Russians and senior campaign officials had been publicly disclosed. generating substantial media coverage and investigative interest. The manner in which the president acted provides additional evidence of his intent. Rather than rely on official channels, the president met with Lewandowski alone in the Oval Office. And, oh golly, that, squeals. Okay. Page 98, Trump and Lewandowski met alone. 1 + 1. Bam. The president raised the matter with Lewandowski again on July 19, 2017, just days after emails and information. The manner in which the president acted provides additional clues to the evidence of his intent. The president selected a loyal devotee outside the White House to deliver the message, supporting an inference that he was working outside White House channels, including McGahn, who had previously resisted contacting the Department of Justice about the special counsel. The president also did not contact the acting attorney general, who had just testified publicly that there was no cause to remove the special counsel. Instead, the president tried to use Sessions to restrict and redirect the special counsel's investigation when Sessions was recused and could not properly take any action on it. The July 19, 2017 events provide further evidence of the president's intent. The president followed up with Lewandowski in a separate one-on-one meeting 1 month after he first dictated the message for Sessions, demonstrating he still sought to pursue the request. And just hours after Lewandowski assured the president that the message would soon be delivered to Sessions, the president gave an unplanned interview to the New York Times in which he publicly attacked Sessions and raised questions about his job security. 4 days later, on July 22, 2017, the president directed Priebus to obtain Sessions' resignation. That evidence could raise an inference that the president wanted Sessions to realize that his job might be on the line as he evaluated whether to comply with the president's direction. That Sessions publicly announced that, notwithstanding his recusal, he was going to confine the special counsel's investigation to future election interference. Section G. The president's efforts to prevent disclosure of emails about the June 19, 2016 meeting between Russians and senior campaign officials. Overview. On page 98, by June 2017, the president became aware of emails setting up the June 9, 2016 meeting between senior campaign officials and Russians who had offered derogatory information on Hillary Clinton as part of Russia and its government's support for Mr. Trump. On multiple occasions in late June and early July 2017, the president directed aides not to publicly disclose the emails. Oh my. Aides not to disclose or discuss emails emails on 6/9/2017, Trump Tower meeting with Russians. Now, this was order June, July 2017 cover up. Evidence. The president learns about the existence of emails concerning the June 9th, 2016 Trump Tower meeting. In mid-June 2017, the same week, the president first asked Lewandowski to pass a message to Sessions. Senior administration officials became aware of emails exchanged during the campaign arranging a meeting between Donald Trump Jr., Paul Manafort, Jared Kushner, and a Russian attorney as described in Volume 1, Section 4A5 Supra. The emails stated that the Crown Prosecutor of Russia had offered to provide the Trump campaign with some official documents and information that would incriminate Hillary and her dealings with Russia as part of Russia and its government's support for Mr. Trump. Trump Jr. responded, "If it's what you say, I love it." And he, Kushner, and Manafort met with the Russian attorney and several other Russian individuals at Trump Tower on June 9, 2016. At the meeting, the Russian attorney claimed that funds derived from the illegal activities in Russia were provided to Hillary Clinton and other Democrats, and the Russian attorney then spoke about the Magnitsky Act, a 2012 U.S. statute that imposed financial and travel sanctions on Russian officials and that had resulted in a retaliatory ban in Russia on U.S. adoptions of Russian children. According to written answers submitted by the President in response to questions from this office, the President had no recollection of learning of the meeting or the emails setting it up at the time the meeting occurred or at any other time before the election. The Trump campaign had previously received a document request from the SSCI that called for the production of various information, including a list and a description of all meetings between any individual affiliated with the Trump campaign and any individual formally or informally affiliated with the Russian government or Russian business interests, which took place between June 16, 2015 and January 20th, 2017, and associated records. Trump Organization attorneys became aware of the June 9th meeting no later than the first week of June 2017, when they began interviewing the meeting participants, and the Trump Organization attorneys provided the emails setting up the meeting to the President's personal counsel. Mark Corallo, who had been hired as a spokesman for the President, personal legal team, recalled that he learned about the June 9th meeting around June 21st or 22nd, 2017. Priebus recalled learning about the June 9th meeting from Fox News, host Sean Hannity in late June 2017. Priebus notified one of the president's personal attorneys who told Priebus he was already working on it. By late June, several advisors recalled receiving media inquiries that could relate to the June 9th meeting. And currently we have 9:48 p.m. here at the Voice of San Joaquin.org. I am Richard Slezak. This is episode 29 of the Mueller Report. We're now on page 100 of Volume 2. The President directs communications staff not to publicly disclose information about the June 9th meeting. Communication advisors Hope Hicks and Josh Raphael recalled discussing with Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump that the emails were damaging and would inevitably be leaked. Hicks and Raphael advised that the best strategy was proactively release the emails to the press. On or about June 22, 2017, Hicks attended a meeting with the White House residents with the President Kushner and Ivanka Trump. According to Hicks, Kushner said that he wanted to fill the president in on something that had been discovered in the documents he was to provide to the congressional committees involving a meeting with him, Manafort and Trump Jr. Kushner brought a folder of documents to the meeting and tried to show them to the president, but the president stopped Kushner and said he did not want to know anything about it, shutting the conversation down. And this is section 2, second paragraph on page 100. On June 28, 2017, Hicks viewed the emails at Kushner's attorney's office. She recalled being shocked by the emails because they looked very bad. The next day, Hicks spoke privately with the president to mention her concern about the emails, which she understood were soon going to be shared with Congress. The president seemed upset because too many people knew about the emails, and he told Hicks that just one lawyer should deal with the matter. The president indicated he did not think the emails would leak, but said they would leak if everyone had access to them. Oh, great wise one. Okay, that was page 100. And we're at 9:52 here at the Voice of San Joaquin. I'm Richard Slezak, your host. This is the Saturday Evening News, and I'm reading to you the Mueller Report. And let me imbibe. Stay there. Oh my. Let me go refill my coffee cup. We're in the home stretch. Oh. Alrighty, we're back. The Mueller Report, episode 29. We're far into it. We're page 101 of volume 2. And this is dealing with activities June, July of 2017, obstructing justice, trying to get Mueller, Sessions to recuse himself, to fire Mueller, possibly Sessions getting fired. Oh my. And on page 101, later that day, Hicks, Kushner, Ivanka Trump went together to talk to the president. Hicks recalled that Kushner told the president the June 9th meeting was not a big deal and was about Russian adoption, but that emails existed setting up the meeting. Hicks said she wanted to get in front of the story and have Trump Jr. release the emails as part of an interview with the softball questions. The president said he did not want to know about it and they should not go to the press. Hicks warned the president that the emails were really bad and the story would be massive when it broke. But the president was insistent that he did not want to talk about it and said he did not want details. Hicks recalled that the president asked Kushner when his document production was due. Kushner responded that it would be a couple of weeks, and the president said, then leave it alone. Hicks also recalled that, this page, let me set the microphone there to write. Page 101, Jared, document, request from Congress, Trump said, leave it alone. Oh, Herr Trump, why leave it alone? We have 9:56 here at the Voice of San Joaquin. Hicks also recalled that the president said Kushner's attorney should give the emails to whomever he needed to give them to, but the president did not think they would be leaked to the press. Raffel later heard from Hicks that the president had directed the group not to be proactive in disclosing the emails because the president believed they would not leak. The president, President directs Trump Jr.'s response to press inquiries about the June 9th meeting. The following week, the president departed on an overseas trip for the G20 summit in Hamburg, Germany, accompanied by Hicks, Raffel, Kushner, and Ivanka Trump, among others. On July 7, 2017, while the president was overseas, Hicks and Raffel learned that the New York Times was working on a story about the June 9th meeting. The next day, Hicks told the president about the story, and he directed her not to comment. Hicks thought the president's reaction was odd because he usually considered not responding to the press to be the ultimate sin. Later that day, Hicks said the president again spoke about the story. Hicks recalled that the president asked, her what the meeting had been about, and she said that she had been told the meeting was about Russian adoption. The president responded, "Then just say that." On the flight home from the G20 on July 8, 2017, Hicks obtained a draft statement about the meeting to be released by Trump Jr. and brought it to the president. The draft statement began with a reference to the information that was offered by the Russians in setting up the meeting. "I was asked to have a meeting by an acquaintance I knew from the 2013 Miss Universe pageant with an individual who I was told might have information helpful to the campaign." Hicks again wanted to disclose the entire story, but the president directed that the statement not be issued because it said too much. The president told Hicks to say only that Trump Jr. took a brief meeting and it was about Russian adoption. After speaking with the president, Hicks texted Trump Jr. a revised statement on the June 9th meeting that read, "It was a short meeting. I asked Jared and Paul to stop by. We discussed a program about the adoption of Russian children that was active and popular with American families years ago and has since ended by the Russian government. It was not a campaign issue at that time, and there was no follow-up." End of quote. Hicks' text concluded, "Are you okay with this? Attributed to you?" Trump Jr. responded by text message that he wanted to add the word primarily before discussed so that the statement would read, "We primarily discussed a program about the adoption of Russian children." Trump Jr. texted that he wanted the change because they started with some Hillary thing, which was a BS, and some other nonsense which we shot down fast. Hicks texted back, "I think that's right too, but boss man worried it invites a lot of questions. Ultimately defer to you and your attorney on that word. I know it's important, and I think the mention of a campaign issue adds something to it in case we have to go further." Trump Jr. responded, "If I don't have it in there, it appears as though I'm lying later when they inevitably leak something." Trump Jr.'s statement adding the word primarily and making other minor additions was then provided to the New York Times. The full statement provided to the Times stated, "It was a short introductory meeting. I asked Jared and Paul to stop by. We primarily discussed a program about the adoption of Russian children that was active and popular with American families years ago and was since ended by the Russian government, but it was not a campaign issue at the time, and there was no follow-up. I was asked to attend the meeting by an acquaintance, but was not told the name of the person I would be meeting with beforehand." And we have 10:01 p.m. here at the Voice of San Joaquin. We're on page 103. We'll resume in the next show. Page 103. Stopped. And this has been on the 6/9/2016 meeting. Don Jr. cover-up. Denial. Alrighty, folks. We'll be getting back with you in a few days with more on the Mueller report, the shenanigans, and we know that, hey, that's what they do. And A lot of people voted for it, but nowhere near as many as, 63 million initially, and then 51 million in 2018. Might be that many, might not be in 2020. With that, going to be bidding the show adieu. That has been the Saturday Evening News. I am your host, Richard Slezak, and as soon as I can find the mouse, I'm going to be ending things here. This has been the Saturday Evening News from the John Moriarty Studio. We have 10:03 p.m. Have a good Saturday evening, and still continuing live on Facebook and YouTube. And with that, though, I'm going to be closing things down here. Thanks for watching and listening. This is, we're ending the Saturday Evening News for February